as it was simply known. And no, that wasn't a slang, was a lone sentinel. It stood defiant, an autonomous realm unyielding to the whims of external authority. A sovereign city-state, it knelt to no one but its own shadow. At the helm, a baron, a maestro orchestrating the symphony of trade, taxes, laws, and the martial dance. Under the baron's sway, envoys presided over diverse fiefdoms, and amongst them the sheriff, sentinel of the city watch. The baron, an overlord without peer, wielded command over the city's forces, leading them into the fiery embrace of war. The stage of conflict unfolded as the city clashed with its rival city-state, Black Brook. Within the tapestry of the narrative, details of the wider world and the motives behind the city's war remained elusive to Garrett. As he opened the window of the bedroom from which he was working, he was greeted by the magnificent dusk-swallowed panorama of the wide, sprawling river, flanked by fog-cloaked buildings, glowing with interior lamp and candlelight. They gave the entire city a mystical and intoxicating appearance, and in the distance the clock tower somewhat gave meaning to it all. Garrett inhaled deeply the city's dusky smell, and somewhere in the distance the sound of a bell was heard.
There's one thing this city's taught me. You can put a price on anything. Secrets, reputations, a life. And trust? If you have to ask, you can't afford it. But then I suppose none of that matters when you're me. After all, when did I ever pay for anything?
Garrett looked back towards the room. An unconscious man lay sprawled upon a bed. Candlelight bathed the room.
Too much light.
Various objects lay scattered messily about. Garrett walked to the candle by the bed and snuffed it with practiced ease.
Let's make it a little more cozy in here.
He moved to the bed and grabbed an expensive-looking goblet and stuffed it in his side bag. Then he walked toward the opposite window, passing by an exquisite painting of a nude lady. The man stirred upon the bed, apparently passed out from drinking, but Garrett paid no attention and grabbed another pretty letter opener, and again stuffed it in his bag. This job was proving to be quite profitable, he thought. 3 or 4 trinkets later, and Garrett approached the wooden desk by the window. Various items lay strewn about: an open book, a bust, a couple of scrolls, a cupboard holding various other valuables, which would be well worth the effort. Finally, the last cupboard next to the open window completed today's endeavor. Garrett promptly jumped out the open window and expertly balanced upon a plank leading to a nearby ledge. The sights and sounds of the city below were music to his ears. He could hear haggling merchants and a few drunks arguing. After landing on the other side, Garrett moved to the ledge and pried open the window before amusing the mini crowbar. This looked like a fine place to add to his acquisitions. A stuffy attic led to a room section filled with caged birds, which cackled and crowed. Garrett knew to be careful around these. They could be an alarm system that could easily give him away. Garrett carefully maneuvered around the cages and finally reached the opposite window.
That painting's more my taste. I should take a closer look.
Garrett carefully felt around the edges of a painting featuring a bored-looking maid. He was looking for a switch. It didn't take long and a faint click was heard, revealing a hidden safe in the wall. Garrett quickly took out his lockpick and proceeded to go to work. Within seconds, the safe was open, revealing inside a beautiful ruby necklace. Suddenly, a noise startled him from the open window to his left.
What the? Well, they do call the rooftops the Thieves' Highway. I just hope that's not who I think it is.
Garrett moved to the top of the open window and gazed at the vast river below, spanning Oldale Bridge, known as the Thieves' Highway. Plankways to the right of the window ledge led back above the alleyway. Garrett looked up at the scaffolding above and took out his rope and arrow. He placed the rope arrow into his bow and shot it toward the scaffolding, creating an instant rope route above. Garrett climbed with practiced ease. It led to a rooftop bridge of sorts. What he saw did not surprise him. An elegant girl, face draped in a dark scarf and clothed in tight leather, was looking at the alley below, her back to him.
Aaron. Of course it is. Care to make a little more noise next time?
How else would you know it was me? Basso did tell you we were working together on this, right?
Well, I showed up, so what do you think?
I think you haven't changed a bit. Come on, it'll be just like old times.
Aaron took off running down the bridge-like wooden path, as Garrett immediately gave chase. He jumped off the path as it suddenly ended and landed on the small rooftop on the other side. Then up a ledge and into an open window they ran. Past her room where two giant fans churned, Garrett reached the opposite window where he could see Erin waiting for him. As soon as he neared her, she took off again. Continuing north, past a picturesque gate-like opening, where Garrett once again had to jump and reach another ledge above a yawning alley, and into a roof slide which catapulted him to the alley below. He hit the ground running straight ahead, where Erin was waiting for him.
Glad you could make it.
Did you pick that route because it was fast or because you thought it'd be fun?
Can it be both?
Come on, let's get Basso his commission.
Erin sneaked forward and reached the metal gate, proceeding to pick the lock. Past the open gate, Garrett marveled at the elegant yet arrogant beauty that was Erin. He remembered teaching her as a young girl the shadow arts, but he could not hide his disappointment at her arrogance, which seemed to be part of her personality, yet was so foreign to him. Still, his attraction to Erin could not be denied. He had thought about it a lot, but it was as if he unconsciously knew he could change her and improve her. It was perhaps something to do with her brilliant green eyes, contrasting with her shady persona. And so they sneaked on, Erin forward and Garrett close behind, until Garrett reached a staircase and once again saw Erin looking at him tauntingly.
Are you going to use any of those shadows, Lady Lamplight?
I was just scouting ahead. I know you always like to go first.
Erin moved out of sight again, climbing above him as she used the Raven's Claw, a multi-purpose thieving tool that could be used to climb, as well as many other ways. And Garrett, frustrated, took the alternative path to the right to flank Erin and meet up with her further ahead. Climbing a staircase, Garrett navigated the maze of rooftops and marveled at how much he loved to be above it all. The Rogue's Highway. The network of rooftop passages was completely deserted, especially at night, and the excitement of the forbidden path made Garrett's entire body tingle. He absolutely loved his profession. There was no denying it. They say people were what they did for a living, and Garrett had no doubts about who he was. Suddenly, up ahead on a jutting edge, he saw Erin.
You should get yourself one of these. See you on the other side.
Looks like I won't be going that way.
And she disappeared again, with Garrett forging on ahead on his own path. Many rooftop passages and pried windows later, Garrett moved up through an abandoned building, only to be once again greeted by the sight of Erin, sitting on an open window in front of him.
So how much did you steal?
It's not how much you steal. It's what you steal.
And how you steal it. Looks like this primal stone thing that Basso wants is in the ceremony room at Northcrest Manor.
It's the Baron's mansion. Won't be easy.
Worried?
Yes, and so should you.
We'll be fine. I'll pick up your slack.
This job's getting more complicated by the second.
Erin lithely dropped out of the window and ran up along the ledge, her thin legs moving gracefully like a cat's as she disappeared from view once again. Garrett looked outside the window. The dark glow of the night bathed the mystic city. The cold air caressed his face as Garrett, too, disappeared into the night. Sometime later, in front of a majestic manor, Erin crouched before Garrett as she turned to him.
That's a lot of guards.
They're definitely not here for the summer festival dance. A lot of guards means a lot of steel. Thieves and swords do not get on well.
I've never had a problem with swords. But then again, I'm not just a thief.
Erin moved silently to the right of the road of the manor and disappeared within the garden bushes. Garrett followed closely behind. They moved in perfect harmony with the shadows, letting no light stab their forms. Then they quickly dashed ahead, crossing the road and emerging once again inside the embrace of the shadows. It was hard to explain the feeling, but Garrett almost felt the warmth of the darkness as a physical sensation, just like he experienced the light on him as a painful irritation. He was that attuned to his profession. Garrett moved past a dry water fountain and silently toward a stone gate. In front of him lay a whistling guard, his back turned toward Garrett. Silently, Erin ran forward and crossed the stone ledge and dropped out of sight, only to climb the bridge above. Garrett continued forward, crossing the stream below and making sure he was silent and did not disturb the guards, who seemed to be everywhere. Finally, he emerged in a courtyard where he spotted Erin in front of him, slowly approaching behind a guard who was chatting with a comrade not far in front. In shock, Garrett observed as Erin clobbered the guard violently on the head with a raven's claw, and then quickly guided the falling body behind a bench. Before the guard's comrade could even realize what was going on. But soon the remaining guard became aware of his comrade's sudden disappearance.
I need to take him down quickly, quietly, and alive.
Garrett quickly knocked him out, making sure not to kill the poor guy, and then swiftly made his way to the other guard whom Erin had struck, and who lay motionless on the ground.
What the hell just happened? Why'd you kill this guard? He was barely older than you.
He was a guard, Garrett. Wrong place, wrong time.
You haven't changed, have you?
What's that supposed to mean?
It means I don't kill without thought or good reason, and I don't get paid for it.
So basically it's okay when you do it, but not me. I see. I get it. But you know that guard? He's not gonna wake up later and follow our trail to cause trouble.
When any guards wake up, I'm usually long gone.
Garrett picked the lock to the gate, and Erin streamed past him once again into the darkness beyond.
If you're so eager to leave, maybe I should go first.
Minutes later, Garrett moved above a stone ledge and past chatty guards, jumped into a wooden platform, and then hurled himself at a hanging rope to climb to the final rooftop where Erin would be waiting. He arrived just in time as he saw, by a water tower, Erin raining final blows upon an unfortunate guard who fell to the floor.
I'm worried you're gonna get us both killed.
I can handle myself, okay? I can move faster, I can climb faster, I can...
You could kill faster and make mistakes faster, I get it. You're not in control.
That's why I'm better. Deal with it. Let's just get the job done.
As Erin moved away from Garrett, trying to remove some boards to clear the roof passage ahead, Garrett silently removed the raven's claw from Erin's belt.
I think we'll do it without this.
Below the glass dome, a high priest clothed in white robes gazed at the congregation with trance-like eyes. Hooded figures lay before him in the chapel. Candles lay everywhere, adding solemnity to the atmosphere. High above and beyond the glass dome, lithe Erin slowly approached the glass ceiling. Below, she could see a cloaked monk open a jeweled box and present it to another cloaked monk.
I'm guessing that's what we're after, the primal stone.
Robes. Robes are always a bad sign.
A blue gemstone glowed eerily inside. The cloaked monk removed the blue gem from the box. The white-haired high priest suddenly addressed the congregation with outstretched arms.
Brothers Cornelius, Aldous, present the keys.
Let's burn Northcrest.
Brothers of the Awakened, we are gathered here to usher this city into a new age. One of progress and industrial enlightenment. Let us begin the channeling of the primal. Sembla and Strakakan.
One of the cloaked monks keyed a box. The light ushered forth. The high priest began to chant again.
Skamamakana.
Blue fog started to gather at the floor as the priest's chant, an alien language, reached a crescendo.
Come on, let's go down there. This will be fun.
No. We're done here. Job's over.
What? Are you joking?
Something's not right. It's too dangerous. And you're not ready yet.
You know, I'm not a kid anymore. I can do this.
Erin's green eyes blazed with anger as she turned away from Garrett and toward the glass dome.
I'm going down there with or without you.
Garrett pointed at the raven's claw as Erin suddenly realized it was missing and ran toward Garrett, trying to get it back from him. The priest below, his face contorted, continued his inexplicable chant. Erin ran toward Garrett in rage, trying to grab the claw, but Garrett evaded her, and her face was grazed by the claw. Erin's beautiful green eyes flashed. Below, the congregation shook as the chant increased in volume, and the fog on the floor of the chapel began to turn into an unstoppable wind, shaking the entire edifice. Erin lost her balance as she swiped the claw from Garrett's hand. The claw landed square in the middle of the glass dome. Erin ran toward it carelessly. She slowly walked along the glass dome, trying to reach the claw. Below, the congregation continued its chant as the entire building shook, and the magical fog rose above and glowed intensely. The guards below the chapel saw the commotion, and for the first time noticed the black-clad figures of the two thieves on the roof of the chapel. The alarm was sounded as the guards rushed toward the roof. Erin moved toward the claw and almost grasped it, but the shaking of the building continued, and the dome glass began to crack.
Give me the claw!
Garrett looked desperately into Erin's eyes, and the glass shattered with violence. Erin screamed and began to topple below. Garrett sprinted toward her and was able to grab her hand at the last moment. As Garrett tried to reach the claw, Erin slipped from his grasp and tumbled below, falling right on top of the glowing gem box. She was levitated instantly above the table as the light grew intensely, and the building shook violently. Garrett began to fall, but he was able to launch his grappling hook at the last moment, and it struck a rushing guard, anchoring the hook into his body. As Garrett swung desperately on his rope, the entire edifice finally collapsed, and the last thing Garrett saw was stones toppling everywhere towards his face.